If you ever opened a snack and then poof, the whole bag disappeared, you are not alone. Today we're going to reboot how you see food and how you see business. From Marlboro to Lunchables, I'll show you how corporations engineered dependence and what you can do to take your system back. It's design. And in 60 seconds, I'll give you a 5-question self-audit to start your reboot. So stay tuned. I'm Lisa Genza. I'm a system thinker and a former IT consultant turned health coach. My two passions are business and health, and I've rebooted this channel so that we can really talk about the business of health, starting with your health. So when I was a network operations manager and the network failed, we had to do root cause analysis. And it seems as though we're missing a lot of root cause analysis in this current society of big ag and big food. So my confession is I lived on coffee and Diet Coke and a lot of convenience foods when I was working 14-hour days and swing shift and doing network maintenance in the middle of the night, because lack of sleep will definitely lessen our willpower. But let me tell you that these foods are designed to keep us stuck in a loop. I've learned how to reboot, and I'm going to teach you how. This isn't a morality tale about snacks. It's about systems. In the 80s and 90s, the same playbook that sold cigarettes migrated into the food supply, engineering products for repeat use, flooding the environment with cues, starting them young and keeping it cheap, and making sure that these snacks were found everywhere. Now, I'm all about free markets, but is this free? And free for whom? When did manipulation become a good business practice? Now, there is a business model called the Addictive Food Business Model. Once I share this, you'll be able to spot it. In the Addictive Food Business Model, there's 5 A's. Addictive formulations. They know the amount of fat, sugar, and salt to hit those reward pathways in our brain and hook us. Advertising, especially to kids. Affordability, cheap products, cheap per hit, accessible everywhere we go, from office vending machines to gas stations. And age, start them young and build lifetime value. Let's take the case of Hawaiian Punch, a cocktail mixer that was rebranded for kids with a cartoon mascot, or tobacco-borne flavors that later show up in hyper-palatable foods like Lunchables. Once you see this system and you know that the food industry was infiltrated by the tobacco industry, you'll understand that the money to be made was in making the food hyper-palatable and addictive. Have you ever noticed how a Dorito can taste more like a taco than a taco? Well, in the 1960s, Frito-Lay didn't sprinkle tacos on chips. They recreated the taco flavor profile with lab-identified aroma compounds. The flavor is information to our brain. So you have to understand that for most of human history, the real flavor signaled real nutrients. And our brain learned that taste equals nutrients. But when we bolt these lab flavors onto nutrient-poor bases, we create a nutritional lie. Confusion for our brain. All of the yum cues, none of the underlying value. And the result is we keep chasing more. What's now commonly referred to as the Dorito effect. You open the bag of Doritos and before you know it, it's gone. Now, in my training with Dr. Joan Ifland, I learned that the reward pathways in the brain light up from the very first bite. We get a dopamine hit, and now we're continually seeking that dopamine hit. But many of these processed foods then have a morphine effect that sedates us. That's why we can't stop eating it. Okay, now a quick clarifier. We might see natural flavor on an ingredient label, and that does not mean it's natural. We really don't know, because that can be a proprietary blend that the manufacturer used. The more we outsource flavor to labs, the less nutrition is guiding our appetite. We are more likely to overconsume and feel done. This is why it is so imperative. As a health coach, I migrate clients from processed food to real food. We start with a process of crowding out. anything that you may be eating that's processed, we replace it with something natural or whole. See, if flavor is supposed to guide us and tell our brain that we had nutrients, but the nutrients weren't really there, what happens in our body when that flavor lies? On the surface, that's cognitive dissonance, but physiological and biologically, we're not getting the nutrients that we think we're getting. We may not be getting any nutrients at all. Now, there's something called mirror neurons. We copy what we see. Toddlers need as few as 5 ads to tilt their choices towards a brand, and they know this. Adults, well, we have break room snacks, vending machines, pastries that are brought to meetings. Your mirror neurons are quietly whispering, "Me too." This is one reason I started a functional health program for families, and I teach cooking classes to kids to start programming their mirror neurons early and showing them what their options are so that they are not as inclined to be hijacked by the marketing manipulation. Now, as a consultant and a coach, I have been a longtime student of human psychology. And one of the things that I have come to firmly believe is that convenience kills creativity in all forms, starting with convenience foods. But just the act of abdicating our rights to someone else, having someone else put the thought in or the creativity into something so that it is prepared for us, removes our ability to create. It's imperative that we continue to be creative, that we are creative, critical thinking problem solvers. In teaching cooking class, I'm getting people back into the kitchen to create and to think about their food. Furthermore, our health issues start with our digestive process. If you have any type of health issue, I would start by addressing your digestion. And digestion really starts in our brain as we're preparing our food. We are like Pavlov's dogs. We are hearing the bell and our body is preparing for food. We were intended to create our food and prepare our body to consume it. When we choose convenience foods that are prepared for us, this even includes ordering carryout, which is what I did when I worked in corporate America. Your body is not preparing for digestion. So we can end up with a lot of digestive issues, and I'm speaking from experience. Convenience kills creativity, and convenience foods, for reasons that you may not have considered before, are hurting our health. Now, I teach a corporate wellness workshop where I challenge our beliefs because the marketing messages make us believe we need those convenience foods to save time. Do we really? You know, the granola bar industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry that has made their money on selling you on saving time. But I show everyone how quick it is to make a no-bake granola bar at a fraction of the cost without as many ingredients that we can't pronounce or understand. So are we really too busy to cook, or are convenience foods making us too tired to think about cooking? We have to become aware of the system that is in play. Now, here's your self-audit that I promised you. Are you foggy or unfocused after meals? Do you have a midday crash despite caffeine? Do you wake refreshed or not refreshed? Are you wired but tired at night? Are you more reactive and stressed out than you feel you should be? And do you have any digestive issues? Okay, if you said yes to any of these, this is not about blame or shame. This is about awareness. Your body is a system. We're operating within a larger system. I look at systems. I look at where systems are failing. And so you may be getting a system error. Now, in my network days, I would have put a sniffer on the network. With humans, we can run labs, but sometimes it doesn't even come to that. There are a number of changes we can make, typically starting in the kitchen, that can have an overall positive impact on your health. Now, The US spent nearly $5 trillion on healthcare in 2023, about 20% of our GDP. Yet, our outcomes lag peer nations. If profits grow and we continue to be unwell, do we have a healthcare system or do we have a sick care market? If food was engineered for dependence, what else deserves investigation? We might need to look at insurance, wellness programs, benefit structures to see if they're rewarding the right behaviors. Based on the stats I've seen and where our health is going in the US, I believe actuaries must be quietly pricing earlier disability and shorter lifespans. This is not a comfortable conversation to have, and this is not meant to be doom and gloom. I'm a very optimistic and positive person because I have seen the results of dietary and lifestyle changes. What's unfortunate is that we lack informed consent. We are not informed of how food is being ultra processed and being designed to manipulate us. That deserves a conversation. I've been hooked by this system. I smoked cigarettes for a number of years. I was addicted to coffee. I was addicted to Diet Coke. I was addicted to little pink packets of artificial sweeteners. I was addicted to fast foods and processed foods. And I think my favorite food on earth was Captain Crunch. When I started stripping away those obvious triggers, I had cleaner focus, stable energy, a steadier mood. This didn't happen overnight, but it did happen pretty quickly. Now, in all my years of managing IT projects and tracking KPIs, I wasn't tracking the most important KPIs, and those were my health. So be aware of what your key performance indicators are. Are they where you want them to be? And if not, what changes might you need to make to improve those? I have spent a lot of time contemplating the marketing manipulation and worse, really, the manipulation of our food. Because I worked in a Fortune 100 company and I believe in free markets. I believe in corporations making a profit. I think that corporations serve the desire of their customers. But in this case, did it go too far? Because the customers weren't aware that why it tasted so good was because it was creating dopamine hits in the brain, similar to drugs. There was a lot of thought put into this addictive food model, and there are many facets of it to create this system. I leave you today to contemplate this for yourself. You have a choice. We all have a choice. I just think everyone deserves an informed choice. Share this video with someone who needs to understand that it's not a lack of willpower, that they could actually be hooked on some products that they're consuming.